Very good morning, students. Welcome back to second year physics. That actually in the previous class we discussed and we finished about a problems on the basis of de Broglie, and as well as we also finished about a based on the photoelectric effect. Problems are almost finished. Some other problems also is there, you do as homework. Let I want to do and I want to tell Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. I think you know it is there in the chemistry. Uncertainty principle. Sir, what is uncertainty principle? See, you remember, according to the principle of uncertainty, we cannot measure the position and as well as the momentum of a particle both at a time. It is not possible. So this is, we can call the principle. Principle of uncertainty is nothing but a, see, according to the Heisenberg's, we can say, according to the Heisenberg's, see, it is not possible to measure both position and momentum of an electron at the same time exactly. See, of an electron, see, we cannot measure the momentum and position of a given an electron or the particle. So that we can call as the uncertainty principle. That's what we can say. Both we cannot measure momentum and as well as the position. So that you say some uncertainty is there, that is the position is, you say, delta x, and the momentum you write as the momentum we can take as the delta p, right? We cannot measure both at a time, no. So that we can say this product of these two we can take as the product, delta x into delta p is nothing but a product of both the position and momentum. So which is equal to what? It is give the order of h dash. That what is h dash? H dash is nothing but h by 2 pi. That's what we can say, delta x is equal to, delta x is equal to delta p, h by 2 pi we can say. Or else we can also write as, here it is, delta x into delta p is equal to n into h by 2 pi. Of course, it is an angular momentum. We can also call it is an angular momentum, so that we cannot measure both at a time, right? Suppose if I want to say, let here, if delta p tends to 0, the momentum tends to 0. Therefore, when delta p tends to 0, then it is what happens that becomes what happens, delta x is equal to, it is reaches to what? When it is delta x and delta p is non-zeros, and if it is to be 0, therefore the equation shows also 0. Suppose if I take a delta x tends to 0, then momentum also tends to 0. That means here it is, similarly you remember, we cannot measure both momentum and position of a particle at a time, both it is not possible in the same time. This we can call as uncertainty, which we can call as uncertainty. It is about a what? Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Clear? So this relation is related to uncertainty principle. This is there in the chemistry also, right? And coming to the next one. See now, we have other one. So we know de Broglie wavelength. That wavelength is lambda is equal to h by p. That is about what it is, de Broglie wavelength, right? De Broglie wavelength, lambda is equal to h by p. This is actually, we know, for a different particles, like you go for electron, like you go for other particles, proton, neutron, alpha particle and etc. particles. So for that particles, it possesses a particle nature, and when it is interacted with the wave like a light or like radiation, therefore the particle also possesses the wave nature, and as well as the wave also it possesses the particle nature, of course. So if particles, if you concern, therefore the particle, it behave itself is a particle nature. When it is mixed with a wave or light, therefore it behave like a light or a wave. That means for the particles also, if there is some wavelengths, if for them if there is a wavelength is there, no, then we can say the particle also behave like a wave. Now we have to prove it, because light is obeys the 7 to 8 properties like rectilinear, interference, diffraction, like polarization, like photoelectric effect, like Compton effect, like we have, these are the properties. Light is obeys this all. See, in these properties, if the particles also, if it is obeys, yes, we can say the particle also possesses the or it is also half wave or wave nature. So, on this basis, on the basis of de Broglie wavelength, see Davinson and Germer, they did an experiment on the basis of the wavelength of a particles, because we know according to the de Broglie wavelength, lambda is equal to some 12 point approximately 12.27, right. It is 12.27 by root V. V is nothing but applied potential for the electron I am saying. So, this is according to the de Broglie hypothesis, and on the basis of this Davinson and Germer, they did an experiment. Now, that experiment I will explain you. See, this experiment is, we need to draw a diagram. See, let us, I will tell you Davinson and Germer experiment. You write as a side heading is Davinson and Germer. So, let us Davinson and Germer. See, there is an experiment. See, this is actually experiment is first conducted by Davinson and Germer in the year of 1927. This experiment is conducted 1927 it is. So, now it is actually consist of this Davinson and Germer is conducted an experiment. Actually, see, now we need to produce an electron, because the electron, when it is bombarded with a target elements. So, that target element is the very important. The target elements in this experiment they used as a nickel. So, that nickel is used, so that you draw a diagram. Now, let us you take a one electron gun, that means it is a filament is connected to low potential. This must be connected to like a low potential. We need to apply here low potential. It is an electron gun. So, usually electron gun is produces the electrons, and here it is to be connected like this, and here there will be a one small hole to get a monochromatic electrons. That means we should get only one electron beam. So, it is to be connected like a one chamber, it is C, and this is to be connected to potential divider. That means it is provides the different potentials, that higher potentials, and it is to be connected to another chamber again to get narrow beam of electrons like it is. See, then through this the electron beam will flow like it is, there will be a narrow beam, and it is to be connected, and it is to be interactor, or it is to be incident on the target element. Target it is. This target is, you can say, nickel, and you remember there will be a nickel crystal space between the molecules is 0.19 angstroms, you remember it is. So, now when electron is bombarded with this, and there will be a potential is applied at an a V, at an a low potential divider, that must be applied at an a potential V. See, there will be a potential is applied, approximately the experiment was verified by using a accelerating voltage V. Here we should apply V is equal to 44 volt to approximately 68 volt. This is a very important, right. And coming to the point is, now see, I want to explain you experiment, how we can do the experiment. Suppose when there is a low potential is applied at this gun, because it is connected, filament is connected with the battery, therefore, because of the low potential applied, from this filament electrons are emitted. See, electron beam actually emits in all directions, but we require only monochromatic. That means here only one beam of electron flow. For that purpose we are using like a small holes, like a pinholes. Here also we are using a one pinhole, therefore the electron beam is propagating. Now actually there will be a high potential divider is there, that we are applying a 44 volt to between 68 volt. See, for a different potential difference is to be applied. Due to the difference potential differences, the electron beam which strikes the nickel target, and the space between the molecules is 0.91 angstrom of the nickel target. So, when it is strikes, therefore, the electron beam is deflected, or it is to be diffracted, because when it is strikes, then electron is it is deflected like this, or it is diffracted from the nickel target. And when it is electron is coming from the nickel target, now we need to find whether the electrons are coming or not from the when strikes the target. So that here use a one detector, the detector which is to be we can call moving detector, we can call as the moving detector, because this is will be scale and this can be rotated in a space. Suppose the electron deflected in different angles, no? Say suppose if I applied a 44 volt, therefore the electron deflected angle will be different, that we don't know, you say pi it is. So let us you go for the next volt and also will get the electron somewhere else, deflected electron, because it is depends on the applied potential difference. So that if there is a potential difference is applied like this at a particular angle, you remember, say that a particular angle, so there will be, of course it may deflect like this also, we cannot say only this direction. So at a particular angle, I want to say about a if I apply a if I take a voltage is 54, there will be a electron diffracted angle will be approximately 50 will get, see at this potential. One point I will conclude you, see here if a 54 volt is applied at a potential divider, there will be a diffracted angle is 50. This shows a maximum, this angle shows a maximum because of 54. If you take other angles, we will get the other diffracted angles, but at a particular 54 it shows a 50 degree diffracted angle, it shows a maximum wavelength it is gives. So here we need to get, it is actually we can say theta plus pi plus theta, shall I, because it is given as theta plus, because there will be a, this is will be theta and this is will be theta, total will be theta plus pi is equal to, you write as 180, then here 2 theta plus pi is equal to, you say 180, then pi is equal to 180 minus 2 theta, we can take like this, or else it is 2 theta plus 54 is 50 is equal to 180, and there will be a 2 theta is equal to 180 by 50, here it is theta is equal to, right, this will be minus, no, 180 minus 50, then it is 2 theta, no. See if I take a 150, this is approximately 130, theta is equal to 130 divided by 2, see 2 ones 2 6s 12, and there will be a 1 is there, so that it is approximately 65 degrees. So theta is equal to 65 degrees. Now we need to find a wavelength. Sir, how will get the wavelength? See, the wavelength will be, we can calculate by using a diffraction, that is we can say there will be a Bragg's diffraction formula is there, lambda is equal to Bragg, you know, Bragg diffraction formula in chemistry is there, so that lambda is equal to 2d into sin theta it is. This is we can call Bragg diffraction. See if I substitute these values here, we will get the approximately 2 into 0.91, because the space into sine of 65 if I take. So approximately wavelength of electron by using this experiment will get the 1.65 angstroms it is. By taking this, suppose we have already de Broglie hypothesis, right. De Broglie hypothesis is lambda E is equal to 12.27 by root V. Let us you apply here, what happens you look at, say lambda 2.27, the root 54 is there, no? That root 54 is the voltage applied, right. So that if you simplify this, approximately it is also shows the same answer. That means de Broglie hypothesis and the experimental verifications are same, because electron is diffracted or reflected, we can also call, yes, it is a property of a light is reflected, or we can say the light is diffraction is taken with different angles because of applied voltage is different, so that the particle is obeys the property of a diffraction property, or we can say it is a reflection property. Not only that, we know the wavelength by the de Broglie, that is 12.27 root V. Suppose you take a different potential differences there, you will get the different wavelengths, but at a particular potential difference, if you apply a 54, that shows a diffraction angle is 50. For this, both will be the answers are same according to the de Broglie, according to the Marsden and German experiment, Davinson and Germer. Okay, Davinson and Germer experiment also concluded that that electron half the wavelength, which is equal to de Broglie wavelength. This is the conclusion given by Davinson and Germer. So, this is an experiment related to what it is, we can say Davinson and Germer experiment. Clear? Right. Now, coming to the next one, after this let us actually after this we have some related to this. See, so we should know about X-rays. Actually X-rays are additional, but I will give you some information X-rays because we have in the next chapter like related to the X-rays. Already we finished also in electromagnetic waves. X-rays are nothing but a what? So that we can call shortest wavelength, which are having a shortest wavelength. X-rays and the production of X-rays, and the X-rays are related to electromagnetic radiation. It comes under electromagnetic wave, because for X-rays propagation there is medium is not required for their propagation, and X-rays under comes X-rays, the wavelength of X-rays, because it is an actually extra syllabus, but we should know the idea X-rays. So, the wavelength of a X-rays are, you write wavelength, I will give you main points. Wavelength of X-rays is, it is approximately 0.5 angstroms to, we can call 100 angstroms, or we can also say 0.1 angstrom to, we can also write as 100 angstroms. And usually X-rays are discovered by Röntgen, R-O-N-T-Z-E. It is, we can say Röntgen X-rays. X-rays are discovered by Röntgen, and you know there are some X-rays are two types. Actually X-rays can be detected by using a Coolidge tube. Coolidge tube. And here coming to the X-rays, we have two types of X-rays. One we can say shorter wavelengths. See, there are two types. One we can say shorter wavelengths, which are have a shorter wavelengths. The X-rays are called as a hard X-rays, shorter wavelengths. And here another one, longer wavelengths. See, longer wavelengths are nothing but a shorter wavelengths are nothing but a what? It is under comes a 0.1 angstrom to 4 angstroms. It is the shorter wavelengths, and it is comes to 4 angstroms to 100 angstroms, or we can say 5 angstroms to 100 angstroms. So, harder X-rays, and it is a we can call soft X-rays. See, there are two types of X-rays, right? One is we can call harder X-ray, hard X-rays. One more is we can call soft X-rays. And come to the point is, see this soft X-rays and hard X-rays. Usually, the soft can be propagated through, because wavelength is more, no? We have V is equal to actually n lambda, no? Lambda is inversely proportional to frequency. So, when wavelength is more, then the frequency is less. And here, when wavelength is low, then the frequency is high. See, you remember in case of a longer wavelengths, this can be propagated through, soft X-rays can be propagated through flesh also. Right, I am sorry, soft X-rays can be propagated through bones also, whereas hard X-rays can be propagated through only flesh. So, of course, both will be harmful, so it is no doubt, both are the harmful, but here there is some wavelength ranges are there, and here it is to be can be detected. Actually, this X-rays can be detected by using a Brock's spectrometer. There is a spectrometer is there to get the spectrum, to see the spectrum of electromagnetic waves. So, we have different spectrums are there, star spectrum is there, solar spectrum is there, like we have different spectrums like prism spectrum is there. So, this all spectrums can be identified by using a spectrometer. The spectrometer is designed by a Bragg, so that we can call Bragg spectrometer. So, in this Bragg spectrometer, by using this we can detect the X-rays. So, that by using this Bragg's this one founded that X-rays consist of two types of spectra. One is we can say continuous X-ray spectra. One more we can say characteristics of X-ray spectra. Of course, continuous and characteristics. See, continuous can be to be like this. See, when electrons enter into an atom, into a target atom, therefore, most of the part of electron, energy of kinetic energy of most of the kinetic energy of electron is to be converted as heat energy. Some part, 1% of part of energy can be converted as X-rays. Remember, 99% is to be converted as heat energy. 1% of kinetic energy only is to be converted as X-rays. This is the thing. And when by using a spectrometer, there it is to be X-ray spectra are two types. One we can say characteristics, one more we can say continuous. See, the continuous can be when electron enter into an atom, therefore, it is enters into an atom, most of the atom is empty, that we know, and it is propagated due to the nucleus, the electron bended towards a nucleus. So that when it is bent towards a nucleus, there it is to be some energy releases. The energy which is in the form of a continuous X-ray spectra, continuous X-ray spectra, because of electron bends towards a nucleus. Because of bending, there is some loss of energy. The loss will be converted as X-rays. The X-ray spectrum is called as the continuous. And second, characteristics of X-ray spectra. What is mean by characteristics of X-ray spectra? Usually, you know, in an atom there will be a shells, right, like K shell, L shell, M shell and N shell, so on. It is there in the atoms also, next chapter it is. See, when electron jumping from higher energy level to lower energy level. So, when jumps from higher to lower, therefore, in the higher energy level there will be one vacancy is created. Or we can say when electron enter into a atom, therefore, that electron is liberates the electron innermost orbit, because the electron enter into atom, no, there will be what happens, that electron is liberates the electron from innermost orbit. That mean here I will show you, like it is the actually characteristics of X-ray spectra. This is the nucleus, it is an electron is there and it is another one electron is there, like it is to be. See, when electron enters with a kinetic energy K is equal to half mv square. So, when it is enters and it is, this one is because of this electron is liberated, therefore, both electrons comes out from the innermost orbit. So, there is a one vacancy is created, right. This vacancy can be filled by the higher or next orbit. Therefore, that electron jumps from higher orbit to lower orbit. When it is jumping from this, there will be some energy released. So, this energy in the form of packets, or we can call h nu. So, this if you collect this all energy which is in the form of a emission spectrum, because it is emitting, energy emitting, we can call emission spectrum, and it is undercomes a characteristics of X-ray spectra. This is we can call characteristics of X-ray spectra. There are actually spectra are two types, no? One we can say continuous and one more we can say characteristics of X-ray spectra. Therefore, we will get the line spectrum. It is there in the hydrogen atom line spectrum in the next chapter, atoms chapter. That you say K shell, L shell, M shell. By using that all, we should know, we should find out Lyman series bracket, right, like a pound, like we can say passion and etc. bracket. So, this is there in the line spectrum. It is there in the next chapter related to what it is, we can say about a spectrum. This is the chapter related to what? Dual nature. The chapter related to dual nature of matter and radiation. So, this chapter is over, and we will see in the next class with a new chapter. Thank you very much. Thank you.